literally one of those things where you've been like fucking like dead all day, pardon my French, been dead all
Yeah,
day, nothing going on. And then as soon as you start doing something or as soon as you leave the house, everybody's blowing your phone up. It's just like,
I feel you.
where was this all day, you know what I mean? But I love
You know,
it's one of them good problems to have, I guess, right?
yeah, if you're, especially if it's a matter of people trying to come to you to assist them with something or whatever, then I guess, yeah, it's a good position to be in. You would want, I guess, friends to want your help or think of you like, oh shoot, I wonder if Trent or whoever can go and assist me in this situation, or I wonder if they know somebody. That's a good situation to be in. So I get you. And
I agree. It's
back
just
to the whole
something
stress
that's kind of
management.
new to me ish.
I mean, well, that's good. I mean, change is it's always going to be kind of not not necessarily scary, but in a sense, kind of scary, or because it's something new. So I mean, if it's something new to you, bro, like you can't expect to just already know what to do. That's not how it works, right? So that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying it's a good thing. It's a good thing, you know.
It's just a matter of getting used to it, right? And like I was saying before this, like it's for me, I think I just need to get better with my stress management. And I think like, and that's part and partial with everything I'm like going through with like the brain stuff and all that as well, too, because the stress can lead to that, can lead to that, you know what I mean? So I stress
Yeah,
about this. It's just a vicious cycle sort of thing. So it's like I got to manage the stress so I don't stress out to get to this point. And if I stress out about stressing out, I'll get to this point. So it's a
you know,
weird it's a weird thing. Like I don't know. Like you
I
said, I
get
got
it.
to not sweat the small stuff, and that's
Yeah, bro.
something that's
Because
something
if
I'm
you look
trying
for
to let off on. But that's just something. It's in the process, right?
yeah, man. Obviously, all you can do is work at it one day at a time. But no, seriously, man. So I just try to suggest, like, whether it's switching up the habits, switching up the, like, as far as how you, maybe how you approach things, even the little things within your day to day, because you altering that the way you think or your brain's chemistry, that's what's going to make like a lasting remark on how you do things. So when we're talking about stress management or time management, different things like that, yeah, it's like even the smallest of changes, which you might not notice like the result right this second, but then like a month from now, and you're like, I'm glad that I started waking up at 7:30 instead of 8 or whatever the case is. And like next thing you know, these little things built like these little habit changes, they build you up into a great person. I don't know, bro. I'm of course everyone's path, no one's path is the same, so everyone has their different walk of life, but certain things that are working for me, I always would want to suggest to people who I care about, because at least if it works for them, it works for them. If not, okay, let's go back to the drawing board, try to find something else, you know?
That's exactly it, right? Like you're just trying to share like what you got, what worked for you to like somebody else. That's why I suggest like yoga to people and stuff like that, or I suggest like doing like, oh, look up like this sort of thing because that's what helped me. But like once again, you're it's only as good as like it what people get out of it, or if they end up taking anything out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, 100%.
but it's once again, we're coming from a good place. We're not trying to like lead people astray with any of our advice. Like, fuck. The only time I did that was out of pure ignorance when I was younger.
That's the thing. Even but in context, even as we're getting to be older men, we still could be fucking messing around and in context saying some ignorant stuff. I know I say ignorant stuff every week. And when I say ignorant stuff, what I mean by that is, one, it's almost kind of like because we might not know every single thing of every single scenario
I
of
definitely
every
don't.
single, you know what I mean, that we talk about, right? So that's what I mean from, unfortunately, you can still come from an ignorant place without truly um like being on some like ill intent type shit, like you have bad intentions while you're talking about X, Y, and Z. No, like, or you might not have all the facts, which is technically why they say like, oh, well, you shouldn't talk on X, Y, and Z unless you have all the facts. But sometimes, man, like it's something that crosses your mind, so you feel like sharing your 2 cents on it. That's why someone like me, Trent, whenever I say some BS or just kind of have like a random take, I say like that at the end of it, I'll say like that. Well, that's my opinion, or that's my 2 pennies, because I'm not saying, I'm pretty sure I said this before, but I'm not saying anything I say is law. But at the same time, I have been around the block a couple times. I have had certain life experience that causes me to be qualified to talk about certain things. So that's kind of where I come from as far as like a just sharing information type of place, or being on some like ill-informed or ignorant when I was younger. I got to admit to myself and to the people listening that sometimes motherfuckers can be ignorant nowadays in my current age, you know?
It's honestly like a matter of like expanding like your perspectives and like where you've been. Like fuck, you remember me when I first, like we first met, like I was still like head fucked and ignorant from living here, man. Like if people,
Yeah.
you live around here your whole life and you never like go outside the confines of like your hometown or the borders of like this area, and you never like interact with people of different culture or different, like, you know what I mean, like you just
Yeah,
don't
man.
travel or do anything like that, you're not going to expand like your horizons or anything else. So as much as you can, even like with, well, it's a bad advice right now with gas prices being what they are, but like travel, like if you can, like you got to get outside of like this, like even just your own four walls, and like like the borders of your hometown sort of thing. Like you got to expand, because there's more out there than just Owen Sound. There's more out there than just Grey County and Ontario and Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so on and so forth. But like, fuck, man, like it's just a matter of just going out and talking to people too. Like that's another thing. Like, and being ready, open for experiences too. But it's all about wanting that. It's all about wanting that desire, or having that desire and wanting to go experience those things. And like I said, if you're not gonna, if you've been here or anywhere else for that matter, and haven't like gone outside of that, and you don't know anything outside of that, why would you want to gain anything outside of that? Everything I know is right here.
Yeah, man. And it's like, if you have and it's unfortunate too, because like if you have a closed mind, just because of circumstance or because of the environment you live in, you're not even going to think to want to travel and get outside those four walls and such. Or
Exactly.
even like there are certain people, like they might live in a city their whole life and not go to another part of that city their whole life. And you think to yourself, that's like a 30-minute bus ride to get to that place, and you've been in this city for 60 years and still never went there. Shit, people unfortunately are living in those types of conditions sometimes, where I'm the goal is to get everybody to be able to travel and go see the world, because that shit will just expand your mind, like you were saying. But then even shaking this mentality, bro, where we got to just kind of do what people think we should do, and people being like super enslaved to that mentality. And that's what can add to like that stress or that anxiety we were talking about earlier, bro. It sucks, because a lot of us might be like, well, I think for myself, I'm an independent thinker, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, we're all kind of like affected / victims of it, where we still do what we think we should do because of how others might view us or how others might think about us or whatever the case is. And
That's
it just
just
makes,
social conditioning.
yeah, 100% social conditioning. And it
From
just makes you
school
think,
all the way up, man. That's how it's been.
yeah,
Like the hidden
yeah,
curriculum. Like I had a professor confirm that to me in like midway through university. So I was like, okay, so this is weird. So now I know this, but we're still gonna like go about this like, you didn't tell me this. Like what? Like
yeah, man. But see, that's the thing. It's does one have the ability to, for lack of a better phrase, like break out of the matrix, snap out of
new
the
idea to
matrix?
serve the universe.
That's it. Do you have that courage to do that? Because once you start living freely in that regard, where you're not worrying about other people's thoughts and you're genuinely living to be the happiest you, doing the things you want to do, aka whether it's traveling, seeing the world, whether it's just you're in your local city but you're going to parks and enjoying nature, going out with your dog, whatever, bro, motherfuckers got to be doing that shit. Like if there weren't certain confines of society, as far as like, oh, you got to pay taxes, oh, you got to do this, oh, you got to do that, if there weren't certain confines in society that makes it necessary to survive, a whole bunch of people would be out here living more freely, and not in the sense of being like lawless, where people can just be out here harming people, but the types of things, the types of bylaws or whatever put in place that makes it where it's like you have to be you got to be able to stay afloat uh and not drown in this, you know what I mean, as an adult person or whatever, right? So it's weird.
It's literally, this is, I know we're not a political podcast, but this is literally something I was talking about with somebody earlier, and I have this here. Automation under capitalism will mean that our jobs will be outsourced to automations, resulting in widespread poverty. Automation under socialism will make tasks easier to perform collectively, and everyone's standard of living will go up. And by extension, we won't have to work as many hours. So that means, what are we going to do with our spare time? Whatever the hell else we want to do. But it's just two different realities, right? Like if we didn't have to like do most of our time like working or commuting and or getting ready for work and all that, or if we only had to work like 3 out of 4 days the week as opposed to 5 out of the, you know, sort of thing. Like where I was working, I was 4 on, 4 off. Those 4 days were long days, but those 4 days off were just as long. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was balanced out like that for like even just like a shift schedule like that for people, but you still got paid like a decent wage, like I think that would make like a lot of people's quality of life a lot different. Like go like definitely a higher like mental quality of life, because you have those days to not only do things you need to do like around the house, buy groceries and shit like that, and like do odd like clean things like all that, but then you have like other couple days to do like, okay, so like do you want to go for like a hike, do you want to go like, you know, do you want to like just chill out and like play some video games or play some guitar or whatever, you know, you have take out what I said the first thing about this, but even if we just like shifted like as opposed to like a 5 to 2, like a 4 to 4, or like a 4 to 3 sort of thing, like just more days off basically and more time off to do what we need to do so we can be, you know, live our lives as opposed to just working to live our lives.
Yeah, man, that's the thing, right? That altered schedule, it can bring about some great change. But that's the thing too, like they're trying to like I saw on the news last week, they're saying how like they want to start to have more people come back to work, like how people working from home like are less productive and this, that, and the third. And don't get me wrong, even if those numbers were true or accurate, because again, back to the whole ignorant thing, I don't know all the numbers and all the facts, but from what I've been seeing, and I get it, people might not be as productive, but at the same time, it's like they probably feel better the fact that they can work from home, get their jobs done, and still be in the quote unquote comfort of their home versus having to get dressed up, go to a place they don't want to go to, whether it's having to drive, if you're in a country where it snows or whatever, having to drive through a blizzard or whatever, just to try to get to a place that, unfortunately, if something negative happens to you, they're going to replace your position regardless. It's like just that. It's just that type of mentality. Like it's not something that incentivizes people to make them want to, in my opinion, make them want to go and stay somewhere for 60 years. Don't get me wrong. If you're getting a pay where you're saying to yourself, I can get paid this 60 years, like for the next 60 years, and I have no problem, that's cool. No judgment towards you. But to the people who are like, yo, I want more out of life, and not even in the sense of financially, I'm talking about more just, I want to be able to live. I know it takes money to live, but I don't want to stress myself out and have migraines and all types of stuff like that and anxiety and shit just to make a quote unquote living, or to have enough to say, okay, I can pay my rent, I can do this, I can do that, I can pay my mortgage, I can pay my car, like my insurance and this, that, and just to be able to have just enough. I don't know, man. That's the type of shit that causes all that mental stress and anxiety and shit.
It's ridiculous. Like when I worked from home, I was just as productive as I was when I was in office, maybe a little less because I was at home. But like you said, quality of life definitely went up because I was not in office. I was not around other people. I was doing maybe for other people, it was like absolute utter hell and they wanted to be around like people and have that face-to-face contact. For me, I could have kept doing that for the rest of my days if it had of the conditions had stayed the same. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But like it should be optional, man. If like you can do your job remotely and safely from home, like why the hell not? Like if you can do it literally like this, what difference does it make other than a boss not being able to look over your shoulder all day, making sure you're
Yeah,
on
literally,
task?
literally that. But and that's the thing too. It's you're putting you're putting yourself in a place to be accountable, because if you're at home and you have to complete a task or whatever case is, you got to complete that task. Whether it's a boss or a supervisor, or whatever, who's expecting that task to be completed at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen, right? In order for one to keep their job. So if you're fucking around, if you're messing around and slacking and whatnot, yeah, you might get put in a situation, bro, where unfortunately, whether you get let go or whatever the case is, because they're saying, okay, this person is not taking the job serious. And it's like you have that control, right? As a quote unquote boss or whatever. But then when you look at it from the employee side, bro, like if your living conditions are better because you know if you're a person who doesn't like rocking with people all the time and hearing all the workplace gossip and all that other stuff, then yeah, you want to mess around and stay home and shit. You don't want to be around that nonsense, which I get it. I totally get it.
This is not just because I love Led Zeppelin. This is me. I am the hermit. I like being at home. I like being here. I don't like having like, I love my girlfriend and love my friends and having all this, but like when I'm here by myself with just like me and the cat and just chilling, it's like, yes, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, I feel you,
But
bro.
but like I said, it's different strokes for different folks. And the other point I was going to make is if we work for a living, why do we kill ourselves working?
Yeah. And
Said the
whether that's
madman to the chicken.
yeah. Yeah, bro, and that's a serious question to ask. Why does one kill themselves, quote unquote, to make a living, or why? Like, but that's like almost like that. It's like that Tupac Biggie song or whatever. Where I'm pretty sure it might have been a match or whatever. But it's like what like one of the chorus is like, why am I like waiting or dying to live when I'm just waiting to die or something like that, or
Mhm.
living to die. It's basically the same phrase you just said, and it's like it genuinely makes you think, bro. Where it's like, yo, I can't be in that same like that kind of vicious cycle you're talking about. I gotta work extra hard to not be in that, bro. I was telling my dad, like I was talking to my dad the other day, and like just telling him how like sometimes motherfuckers put themselves like make themselves go through the hard road in life on purpose. Like you quote unquote make dumb decisions or foolish decisions or ill-advised decisions on purpose, it seems. Because it's like, and it sucks because it's like one doesn't want, it's not a woe is me, like, and you're feeling sorry for yourself. It's more of a, yo, I gotta shake this cycle. I can't be being a kind of shitty person or a crappy person or whatever, and then all of a sudden expect good things and good results to happen within my existence. That's genuinely not how life works. So it's like you gotta change that shit. Oh shit. You gotta change that shit up, or you gotta fuck around and deal with the same like results that you've been getting. Kind of no way around it.
It's pretty much it, man. Like, and I wish I had have like had this mentality, like, fuck me, just holding on to regrets. That's another thing I need to let go of. But like, if I had this mentality a lot longer ago, I think now I would have been better off. But fucking, if I had like $1 million back in the day, I'd be a billionaire now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we gotta.
it's something
Yeah,
else I gotta let. It's something else I gotta let go of. It's just like I can just see where I could have gotten like I take the lessons from it and I have, and now I'm at where this point is like, man, if I had in this here and just like
but bro, you
fucking
trust in the
overthinking.
process, right? Trusting the process and understanding. All right, well, fuck it. Okay, I'm learning X, Y, and Z at 25. Okay, I'm learning X, Y, and Z at 35. Okay, I'm learning X, Y, and Z at 40. Don't 100%. They say like wisdom or you being smart or whatever is like learning from your mistakes, or being wise is learning from mistakes of others. Okay, cool. Not everybody's perfect. We don't all get to reach the perfect like the destination at a perfect time with a perfect score and with no blemishes on our jacket. That's not necessarily how life works. So as you're learning, bro, like it's a part, like it's literally how your like your destiny or your journey has to be, bro. That's my opinion. Because it's like, even with me, same thing as you. I'm learning certain things now, or I might like I find a different way to see life, or a different perspective to check life out, bro. And then it's like, wow, I wish I knew this at 18, or wow, I wish I knew this at 25. But you're learning it now, so at least you're learning it, right? That's kind of how one has to look at it.
That's pretty much it. Like one day at a time, work in progress. Like I'm gonna get that tattooed right on my forehead. Work in progress.
I mean, don't do that, bro. Because that might be that one of those quote unquote regrets that you was talking about.
Definitely.
Out here with a tattoo on your forehead, just wilding, straight wilding out here. Like, does that say what I think it says on his forehead? This motherfucker, you gotta wear a bandana everywhere you go and shit to hide that shit. Oh my goodness. But man, that's what it is, bro. You know, it's always good to kind of get those reminders, though, those life reminders. Whether it's the reminder that people like to reach out to you, so you're quote unquote wanted. So it's just a reminder that, like, it's that people want you around and that you're loved in a one way or another. Or if it's that reminder that you got to pick up the slack and fucking, you got to be more accountable. Yo, you can't be out here just complaining or whatever, or bitching about every different thing that's happening. If you can change your environment or your conditions, take your time and change them. Like, that's kind of the only way to kind of approach it. Otherwise, you stay in the same scenario, and then that's just what it is. Just my 2 pennies, bro. Just my 2 pennies.
That's on gospel right there.
Well, shit. With that being said, I don't know. Are you okay to wrap up and
I'm good, man.
Hey, bro. Well, to the people listening, it's all love. My name is Graham.
I'm Trent.
And this is another episode of Ultra Fly Talk. We really appreciate you guys rocking with us. Take care.
Always.